Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the LinkedIn Collective Studio at B2Believe in New York City. I'm Valerie Beauchamp, the Global Head of Agency Development and Marketer Education in our Marketing Solutions business at LinkedIn. We're honored today to be joined by Clarissa Season, the Chief Experience Officer at Annalect. Annalect is Omnicom's global data and analytics arm, providing solutions that render data actionable across marketing practices. The focus of today's conversation will be topics such as data-driven insights, the role of innovation and technology, and the future trajectory of customer experience. Clarissa, we're thrilled to have you here today. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you today.
So to get us started, or maybe set the stage, can you tell us a little bit about Annalect and particularly the Omni platform's sort of role in serving B2B marketer needs?
Yeah, so Annalect is, we like to call ourselves the stewards of the Omni platform. Omni is our marketing orchestration platform that is used across all Omnicom agencies in every market around the world. And it's really about helping to put data and analytics into the hands of non-technical people and help them to get speed to answer, right? How do they get to insights as fast as possible? And making sure that we can get the data into their hands in the moments that they need it.
Yeah, the unique benefits of Omni, and particularly I think for me at least its adaptability, make it like so well poised to address what is kind of like the ever-evolving needs of B2B marketers and the landscape and how much it changes. Like, what's your take on the greatest need for B2B marketers today?
I think that B2B marketers need to be able to deeply understand the needs of their consumers, and I think we need to get beyond, or they want to get beyond the tennis and golf of it. I mean, for years and years, that was the sponsor a golf tournament or tennis tournament, and those things are valuable, but that's a really kind of myopic way to look at a B2B audience, and we want to get into what is the content that they want to consume, what do they want to hear about, what is keeping them up at night about their business, and you can't do that by just advertising on golf and tennis.
Right, as lovely as they are, right?
Yes.
So, the way that we find and reach and engage a B2B audience is fundamentally different than the way those same practices are done in the B2C space. And I think, even organizations that have a really good strategy for identifying, to your point, sort of like the buyer group and getting closer to these decision makers, still often face struggles in that space. Like, what's your approach to this challenge, and what advice would you give to them?
So I think it's all about the data. I mean, we've worked really closely with LinkedIn to have access not only to your insights data, but really to have a co-development relationship where we're able to take all the richness of the information that you know about consumers and what content that they're consuming and really get in beyond kind of title and seniority, because that only tells us a small part of the story. And so we want to get into, who knew until you start digging into the data that finance people are massively interested in Gen AI. And when you start thinking about it, it makes sense because they're thinking about FTE costs, they're thinking about, what are the costs that are going to impact them from a financial standpoint, because there are costs to put Gen AI services into your organization, but you also might get back time from employees to do other things. And I didn't think that finance would be an interesting area, but they are consuming that at a huge rate.
Yeah, you referenced a few of the tools inside Omni. Like, what do you find Omni's clients are sort of using or utilizing most often, most frequently? You referenced a little bit of the integration points that LinkedIn has into Omni. Maybe just share a little bit around what your clients are really leaning into.
Yeah, so our clients have been leaning into, from a B2B perspective, They actually, our global clients have leaned in more than we ever would have expected, because there's consistency of, they can create consistency of audience across markets. And we have a client recently who was looking to talk to architects and interior designers. And by looking across markets at those kind of business consumers, they were able to get global insights instead of just like, what they had done in the past was ask each market individually to come back with insights. And now they have a platform where they can go in and start to get global insights and to help them create creative that will be globally resonant and to get insights that will help their brand market by market, but they could also find market nuances at the same time. So it helped them to develop a campaign, and we were really proud in that they increased their leads over 20%, and they decreased the cost per lead by 20%. So, at the end of the day, it was much more effective and efficient for them by having these greater insights.
Right, and that is like the ability to do that, it's so rare and still so early in the B2B space particularly, to be able to look at professional audiences like that sort of
Yes.
globally around the world. So what are some of the next frontiers from your vantage point for B2B marketers, and particularly anything that you might be doing in relation to sort of like data-driven insights and application that Annalect's tackling via Omni?
Yeah, I think that B2B influencers are an untapped space. I have, I believe that there is a group of people, and I follow them on LinkedIn, and I'm sure others do as well. There are a group of people who are influencing our decisions. And in the same way we're seeing that happen in the consumer space, we need to be thinking about it in the business space, because this is a group of people that can help influence purchase decisions. We have always known that word of mouth is the strongest means of changing someone's mind or getting them to make a purchase. And I think B2B influencers is where it's at. And so being able to mine the data, identify who are the B2B influencers that might be able to help move the needle for a specific brand or category is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm hoping that we can work with LinkedIn together to, you guys have the greatest source of these B2B influencers, and I think that by learning more about them and being able to pair them with the right brands, we can.
Yeah, and that's so much of what's grounded in sort of the products and services marketplace proposition. The exchange that we know is happening already on the platform is, buyer, seller, marketer, user, advocate. User, advocate are sort of those two people that make up that population there. So we obviously cannot be having a conversation at this moment in time without talking just a beat about generative AI. And I'm sure that's something that you and the Annalect team and those who sort of power Omni are thinking a lot about. How is, from your perspective, does like GAI sort of shape the landscape of not just data-driven decision-making, but particularly things related to just personalized customer experiences?
So I think, in terms of personalized customer experiences, what we're able to do is by applying Gen AI, we can get to insights so much faster. And because of that, we can start to create lots of different insights for lots of different consumers, because we didn't have time before to get to those insights. But generative AI can do, we're seeing it do in a matter of minutes what was taking people hours or even days to do manually. And so instead of having 2 or 3 audiences, you now might be able to have 30 where you couldn't do that before. And so we're also going to see an explosion, I believe, in personalized creative to match these personalized audiences, and then that will lead to personalized experiences. I do think that will then shift what people do, like in terms of like, we're going to have to, so if somebody was spending 2 to 3 days building audience profiles and getting to understand an audience, now they've done that in a matter of minutes. What do we do? And I think that this frees up time to be more creative, to be more innovative, to actually take many of our clients' marketing to the next level.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about, because the way that you all have thought about embracing that and apply it is a little bit through Omni Assist. Can you take a beat and just tell me a little bit about how that's really come to fruition, particularly inside the Omni platform?
Yeah, so Omni Assist is our virtual assistant that lives throughout the Omni experience. And what it is a series of what we call agents. Gen AI is not one size fits all, right? You build different applications of Gen AI to serve different use cases. And so we've built a series of agents to work throughout the platform to help create audience insights. It might be to help write a brief for our clients, which has been a struggle for years. It might be to help to do some pre-production work to start our creatives starting to be able to put a visual to an idea that is in their head. So they might be able to start saying, hey, I want a person sitting at a desk with a beautiful view behind them, and they can actually start to create visuals to see what that creative might look like before they would go into production, before they might spend any of the money.
Right, anything that they've outlaid, yeah.
And so they can start giving clients an idea up front of what the end creative is gonna look like quickly, because before you might have to go into a platform and you have to like build it yourself and find the right pictures and start doing a lot of photoshopping to create that, and now you can just ask various different tools to do it for you.
Yeah, you all have obviously thought through with a very deliberate, sort of thoughtful way, and how GAI can be applied. If you were going to give one piece of sort of quick advice to how marketers can think about sort of leveraging or applying that, what would be the one guidance, particularly maybe for those in the B2B marketing space?
I think it is being very thoughtful and creating. We started off by saying, okay, these are our 4-5 pillars of use cases. And so, because Gen AI can do anything, and you have to create lenses by which you're going to evaluate the use cases and what you're trying to achieve. You don't want to do something that's cool just for cool's sake. You need it to essentially provide business value at the end of the day, and not just to be a gimmick. And so I think applying a lens that is what is this going to save my business? Is it going to save people time? Is it going to make us more creative? Is it going to allow us to reach more consumers? You have to make sure that you understand what you're trying to achieve and use that kind of as a framework by which you evaluate everything.
Clarissa, your insights have been so enlightening. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your vision and providing some perspective on this.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful to chat with you today, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you to all of you for joining us today. Here's to pushing boundaries and continuing to leverage innovation to create remarkable customer experiences.